Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everybody doing today? Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Had to restart my computer, but everything's working now. I'm glad to be here today. I've got a fun lesson for you today. I also changed the title of the lesson just a few seconds ago, so hopefully everyone can see that. It's today we're going to be studying what would you have done. We're going to be doing kind of like a short lesson again today. I'm trying to do these a little bit shorter so it's not too long for people, but you never know what happens. We might end up going longer than usual, like we usually do. So if we do, and if it's too long for you, please bear with me. I apologize in advance. What we will be doing today is I'm going to put it onto the screen right now so everybody can see it. Recently, we've been doing a lot of sort of slang videos, little short, little quick 5 slang word lessons. Today, we're going to go back into a little bit of grammar, something that you can use when you're out and about. And what we're going to study today is this lesson right here. What would you have done? What would you have done? This will be the main focus of our lesson today. So make sure that you guys are following along here. Let me just get my channel ready here. I've got a second computer running here just so I can make sure everything is running smoothly. Okay, let's get to it. What would you have done? The first part here, we've got the grammar part of the lesson. And I'll go over the grammar just briefly. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Now, basically, when we're using what would you have done, and let's make this bigger. I think it's too hard to see according to my screen over here. So let's just make this a bit bigger. Okay, so there we go. So basically, when we use what would you have done, when we're talking about a hypothetical situation. So I've got hypothetical right there. Hypothetical means it's an imaginary situation. It's not real. Okay. And usually we're talking about things in the past. All right. So these are sort of things that happened in the past. It's hypothetical. Okay. When we're reflecting on some type of past event, maybe you did something in the past and then you're thinking about it. Right. And maybe what happened, what you did, maybe that past action wasn't as you planned it. Maybe the outcome or something you did was not great. So you're thinking about it. And a lot of times we are thinking, oh, maybe if I did a different action, it would have been better. If someone else does something, again, maybe their action was bad, we're giving them advice. So we're kind of wanting to change a past event. Or maybe I'm trying to give someone advice. Maybe they did something, it was a bad choice. Then I would say, well, I would have done this. I would have done something different. All right. So we're going to be using this grammar to talk about that. I would have done something different. All right. So how do we make these sentences? Let's zoom out a bit. We've got the pattern right here. All right. We've got the pattern right here. And with this, the pattern is going to be, for the question is, what would you have plus the past participle. If you notice, I've given you some examples here. All right, I've got done, said, chosen. Right, the past participle is that third position. So it's do, did, done. Say, said, said. Choose, chose, chosen. So for this grammar, we are going to be using the past participle. Now, to answer the question, you would say something like this. I would have, And then past participle again. I would have done, I would have studied, I would have chosen, I would have eaten. Okay. All right. So we're going to be answering I would have in today's lessons. So let's look at a couple of example sentences here. We've got the first question. The question says, what would you have done if you had missed your flight? What would you have done if you had missed your flight? Well, the answer here is I would have booked another one as soon as possible. Okay, I would have booked another one as soon as possible. That would be the answer for here. Now, let's look at the second example. We've got the question, what would you have done if you had forgotten your friend's birthday? Well, I would have apologized and planned a belated celebration. All right, I would have apologized and planned a belated celebration. Right? So this is what we're going to be doing today, basically. I'm not going to ask you any questions. I'm going to give you a scenario. I'm going to give you a situation. You're going to listen or you're going to read the situation, and then you're going to make your I would have sentence. Okay, so all of our sentences are going to be following this grammar. I would have plus the past participle. Okay? So let's look at an example here. Before we get to our scenarios, let's look at an example sentence that we could use. Now, let's write one here. I'm going to write one on this board, on this lesson document right here. Okay. So I had a huge test and I pulled an all-nighter. Okay, I had a huge test and I pulled an all-nighter. I was so sleepy during the test that I'm not sure how I did. All right, so that's the situation. Okay, that's the situation here. I had a huge test and I pulled an all-nighter. I was so sleepy during the test that I'm not sure how I did. All right, so now listening to this scenario, what advice would you give me? What would you say? So remember, we're going to be making a sentence that says, I would have, and then the past participle. All right, so I had a huge test and I pulled an all-nighter. I was so sleepy during the test that I'm not sure how I did. Fighty Boars, hi, how are you today? And we've just started today as well, Fighty Boars. So there you go. Perfect. All right, so basically, if you want to be making today's sentences, we're going to be making sentences using I would have plus the past participle. And examples of the past participle are in the banner that I've got there. Done, studied, chosen. You're good. That's good. I'm glad you're good, Fighty Boys. So for me, this is an easy example. There's always easy advice for this. This is an easy scenario. So maybe my answer for this, let's put this in, what color should we do? Let's put it into blue. Okay, I would have studied much earlier. Okay, I would have studied much earlier. All right, that would be my answer for that. Make it a little bit bigger so you can see it easier. Okay, I had a huge test and pulled an all-nighter. I was so sleepy during the test that I'm not sure how I did. So easy answer, I would have studied much earlier. Now, there's always going to be an easy answer, because most times, if you are reflecting on the past. It's some type of past event that didn't go as you planned it. Basically, doing the opposite is going to be your answer. Okay. But try to think of some unique answers for this. This one is very easy, and I gave you a very simple, obvious answer. Okay. So let's start, and let's go with situation number one. Situation number one. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so situation number one says, let's imagine this is all me, okay? This is all me. Funny Bros, I would have planned instead of pulling an all-nighter last night. Yeah, planning is always the important thing to do. Planning is always important. Okay, so imagine all of these scenarios, it's me, okay? So I decided to skip breakfast because I was in a rush, but later in the day you felt lightheaded. So make your answer I would have. Now remember, I was in a rush. That's why I skipped it. So if you were me, what would you have done? So again, this is a great way to ask for advice as well. And I'll put that on here. You know, if you were me, what would you have done? If you were me, what would you have done? Yeah, you know what? I understand it. And this is me. I'm always in a rush. I'm always busy. You know, if I don't have time for breakfast, there's always an option, right? There's always an option. Maybe for me, the option would have been, you know, I would have grabbed a granola bar. I would have grabbed a granola bar. All right. So even if you're in a rush, a granola bar is already made. You just grab it, open it. You can eat it on the train, in the car, however you are going to work. So if I wouldn't have skipped breakfast because I'm a kind of glutton person. So you can say here, because I'm a gluttonous person. But what if you were in a rush? What if you were in a rush? What would you have done? If you were in a rush, what would you have done? For me, I would have grabbed a granola bar. Maybe, you know, for me, I drive, so I would have hit up a drive-through somewhere. I would have hit up a drive-through somewhere. But again, that might not have been possible if if I'm in a rush and I'm running late. Maybe hitting up a drive-through wouldn't be possible. Fighterboards, I would have eaten a sesame bar. Don't forget a sesame bar. Sesame bars are delicious. Yeah. It's tough to find sesame bars here in Japan. At least I haven't really looked for them, but yeah, it's tough to find them. Yeah, gluttonous person. Nice. You know, for me, I would have made, I would have pre-made like breakfast burritos in advance and then just heated them up in the microwave. So sometimes I'll do a lot of cooking on the weekend. I'll make things like breakfast burritos, wrap them, freeze them whenever I want to eat them, whenever I'm in a rush, or if I'm in a bind, just pop it in the microwave. Granola bars are also something, actually it's starting to become more popular here in Japan now. Okay, perfect. Let's go. If anybody watching this right now, like if you're live, if you have a different answer, leave it in the comment section like Fighter Wars is doing. If you're watching this on the replay, first of all, hello, how are you? Hope you're having a good day. Hope you enjoy the lesson so far. If you've got a different answer, leave it in the comment section. I will check it. All right, number two here. It says, you agreed to help a friend move, but on the day of the move, you realized you had double booked yourself and had to cancel on the move. Yeah, sesame snaps are tough to find here. At least the sesame snaps that I used to eat as a kid in Canada. I can't really find those sesame. They're like the small little rectangular snacks, right? If we're on the same page, they're about this big. Super delicious. They're like, they come in packages of like, I think 4 maybe. I've never seen those in Japan. So this is a tough one. You double booked yourself. You completely forgot. Yeah, I think it was a blue wrapper. I don't remember the color of the wrapper, but yeah, maybe. My dad always used to buy those for me. So double booked. For me, this is a tough one, right? You've already agreed to moving, but then you also agreed to a previous, right? For me, yeah, I'd have to cancel on my friend's move. But for me, what would I have done? I would have gone over after my first plan with pizza and beer. That's what I probably would have done. I would have gone over after, myself. If it's my friends, I would have gone over with pizza and beer, maybe later in the evening, and just kind of treated my friend to like an easy dinner, and maybe helped organize a few things. So, if I were you, I would have canceled in any circumstance. What do you mean? So you would have canceled. So I did cancel, or wouldn't have canceled. Is that maybe you were trying to say wouldn't have canceled? And then if it's wouldn't have canceled, then it's not in any circumstance. It's going to be under any circumstance. Under any circumstance. So that is a common expression. Under any circumstance is very, very common expression. Wouldn't. There you go. Perfect. Okay, but what would you have done about the first plan? Because you already have another plan. What would you have done about that one? So for me, because I made the first one first, I would probably go with the first plan. And then, unless the first plan is something, trivial, it's not important. But if it was a proper plan, I would have canceled the move because it was second. That's a tough one. Yeah, but I would have canceled the second plan. I would have gone over later in the evening with pizza and beer and tried to help organize a little bit. But honestly, most people don't organize on the first day, so pizza and beer. All right, let's move on. Again, if I'm moving too fast, you can tell me to slow down. And if I've already gone past and I'm on to the next one, you can still leave your answers for previous questions. All right, so as I move now, let's go to number 3. Number 3 says, you bought an expensive gadget on impulse, but later realized you didn't really need it, and now you can't return it. So you bought an expensive gadget. A gadget is going to be some type of tech device, electronic device. You bought it on impulse, so that means you bought it without thinking. Now you've realized you don't really need this gadget, and you can't return it. All right, so if you were me, what would you have done? Okay, easy answer. Easiest answer is this. I wouldn't have bought it. Okay, that's just simple answer. You cannot put that as your answer. It's too easy. That answer is too easy. It's a completely great answer. It's a correct answer, but it's too easy. So try a different answer. All right, that option's there now. Now you know the one answer. Give me a second one. Maybe one option here. I would have made sure I returned it during the return window. Funny Bones, I like your answer better. I would have sold it on, not in, but on. I would have sold it on an e-commerce site. Perfect answer. It's a great answer. Yeah. I would have sold it on an e-commerce site. So on and then on an e-commerce site. Now, if you guys are wondering here, I put the word window, return window, right? So this window, we often use window to mean opportunity, right? So if your window is open, that means you have the chance to jump through, to go through the window. That means this possibility is open. So the opportunity, the chance is there. As the window is closing, so is your opportunity. So if the window is closed, then you don't have the opportunity to do something. All right. So we often use window to talk about the chance or opportunity. So window of opportunity. Great idiom to remember. So I would have made sure I returned it during the return window. Now there is a return window. It's usually 30 days or maybe 1 week. There is a certain amount of time that the seller tells you when you have to return something. So I would have made sure that I returned it before that, or during that return window. I would have sold it on a Canadian Tire. Do you know Canadian Tire? Wow. If you know Canadian Tire, it's awesome. There used to be Canadian Tire right by where I lived in Canada. All right, let's look at number 4. Number 4, this happens to me a lot. You waited until the last minute to buy a gift for a special occasion. And by the time you went shopping, this shouldn't be. This is wrong right here. Typo. All right. And by the time you went shopping, you couldn't find anything good. All right. So you waited until the last minute to buy a gift for a special occasion. Maybe it's for a special person. Maybe it's your best friend's birthday. Maybe it's your mom and dad's anniversary. Maybe it's something really special. But you waited until the last minute. And no problem, Fighting Boys. I'm surprised you know Canadian Tire. That's awesome. But here, by the time you went shopping, you couldn't find anything good. Now, of course, easy. I would have gone shopping earlier. I would have gone shopping earlier. That's the easy one. All right. What would be maybe a more difficult answer? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I would have done in this situation. If you can't find anything good, what would I have done? If I was you got here, I would have searched more for a better option. I would have searched more for a better option. Yeah, you could have done that. Maybe I would have. I think the thing I probably would have done is I would have bought a gift card to their favorite restaurant. I would have bought a gift card to their favorite restaurant. Or maybe I would have bought them dinner. I would have bought them dinner at their favorite restaurant. I'm not a shopaholic. I'm not a shopaholic, by the way. Yeah, no, I'm not either. Actually, I'm not either. All right, and if you notice, I've spelled favorite in the British English way because that's how we write it in Canada as well. All right, so there we're halfway done. We're halfway done. Let's look at number 5. Number 5, you tried to fix a problem with your car yourself without any experience because you were broke. And you ended up making it worse. You tried to fix a problem with your car yourself without any experience because you were broke. And you ended up making it worse. All right, so what would you have done? All right, your car, something's wrong with your car. You're completely broke. What would you have done? I'll put my answer in a sec, but I'm going to wait. Let's see what other people have here. All right, so broken car, you're broke. I tried fixing it. I made the problem worse. In this situation, if you were me, what would you have done? There are so many answers for this one. I would have borrowed some money and taken it to a mechanic. I would have borrowed some money and taken it to a mechanic. Fight boards, perfect answer. Easy, so I wouldn't have repaired it. That's the easy answer. I wouldn't have repaired it. I wouldn't have touched it. But perfect answer. Really good. Maybe another one. I would have waited till I got paid. I would have waited till I got paid and then taken it to a mechanic. And in the meantime, I would have taken the bus. I would have taken the train. Until my car gets got towed or gets towed, okay? Got here. So I wouldn't have repaired it until my car got towed. Not get, but got. Perfect. Yeah. Now you just made an easy answer really difficult. Great job. Perfect, Fighting Bros. All right, let's move on. Number 6. You were given an opportunity to travel abroad for work, but you declined because you were unsure about leaving, another typo, your dog in a kennel. You were given an opportunity to travel abroad for work, but you declined because you were unsure about leaving your dog in a kennel. Now, a kennel is a place, in Japan, they call it a pet hotel. Kennel is a place where you would leave your dog while you are away. You know, if you can't take care of your dog, if you have to take a vacation, if a work trip, you know, you can't leave your dog home alone because obviously they would not survive. So a lot of people, you know, take them to a kennel. This is a service where they will take care of your dog. But in the kennel, the dogs will be sleeping in cages. So for the most part, they stay in a cage. I'm sure they're walked once or twice a day until my car got towed. Perfect, Fighting Bros. So what would you do? If you were me, what would you have done? If you were me, what would you have done? I think for myself, what would I have done? If I were you, I would have, instead of declining, I would have asked a friend to dog sit. Oh, yeah. If I were you, I would have asked a friend to dog sit. Now, if I wanted to make this sentence even more difficult, even more complex, even more advanced, then I could just add this word at the beginning. Now, we've done this lesson before, kind of advanced ways to give advice. So instead of declining, I would have asked a friend to dog sit. All right, so that instead of makes it a lot more advanced. So, Fighting Bros, you've got, I would have given my pet to my neighbor to take care of my darling. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. You would have given your pet to your neighbor. That's perfect. All right, so dog sit. This is like babysit, right? So we do use that, that is a word in English. We do say dog sit. Now, I think everybody is familiar with babysit, but other ones that we could use are dog sit. Another one that we often use would be house sit. House sit. Okay, so take care of a baby, take care of a dog, take care of a house. I guess cat sit would also work. Yes, a kennel is kind of like a boarding house for dogs. So they basically have to stay in a cage, small little cage. And then, of course, they'll take care of them. They feed them, and then they take them for walks. But while they're in the kennel, they'll probably always be in that cage. I think. I'm not sure. That's my sort of image of kennels. Growing up, I used to have a dog, and whenever my family traveled, we always asked someone to dog sit. So we never used the kennel, and yeah, I don't think I would be comfortable leaving my dog in a kennel. Yeah, and that's a good point as well, Fighting Words. Yeah, it'd be expensive. Yeah, that is true. Right. So yeah, it's better just to use some free friend service. Okay, let's look at number 7. Number 7 says, a colleague, this means coworker, a colleague has asked you for your help on a presentation, but you were so focused on your own work and deadline that you declined. Later, you found out that he or she tanked it and now might be let go. While you think of that, let me just change my lighting here. My lighting has broken. Okay, so there we go. One light's back on. And let's do the other light. So a colleague asked for help on a presentation, but you were so focused on your own work and deadline that you declined. You said no. You said, listen, I'm sorry. I can't help you. But now you found out that he tanked or she tanked. And she might be let go, or he might be let go. Let go. Does anybody know what that means? Let go means fired. Fired. It's a very polite way to say fired. Okay, so I'm going to put that on here. Let go equals fired. All right, so later you found out that he or she tanked it. Okay, so if you tank something, that means you do very, very poorly. All right, so if you tank something, it equals you do very poorly. All right, so your friend, your colleague, your coworker did very poorly on this presentation, and now your colleague, your coworker might be fired, might be let go. So if you were me, what would you have done? Okay, you've got your own deadline you have to worry about. But of course, you don't, if you're thinking about it, you're reflecting on the past, you don't feel good, especially if your coworker gets fired. Myself, this is what I would have done. I would have made time. Right? We're always busy. Everybody has a lot of things to do, but you can always make time. Fighting Boards, your answer. I wouldn't have turned down this offer because I like to give a hand to my colleagues. Put an S on that colleague. All right. I wouldn't have turned down this offer because I like to give a hand to my colleagues. Perfect. Excellent. What goes around comes around. Yes, Fighting Boys. Yes. Right. That's good karma. What goes around comes around. Great expression. Yeah. So I would have, made time like Fighting Boys. I wouldn't have declined. I wouldn't have rejected his request. Maybe I would have gone over late in the evening and just helped him or her prepare. I would have maybe gone over to their place late in the evening. Right. Okay, and last one we're going to do today is number 8. Number 8 says, you were in charge of organizing a major presentation for your team. Okay, you're in charge. Instead of rehearsing multiple times, you have decided to wing it. Okay, you have decided to wing it. All right, what does that mean, wing it? Wing it means you're just going to go with the flow. You're not going to prepare. And once you're standing up there, however you feel, whatever comes into your mind, you'll start to speak. So you do something without any preparation. That's winging it. Okay. So instead of rehearsing multiple times, you've just decided to wing it. But now, right now, as you stand at the podium, you see bigwigs in the front row. Okay, you see bigwigs in the front row. All right, bigwigs. This equals very important people. Very, very important people. So maybe for here, the person, you know, these bigwigs for a company, maybe it's like the CEO, maybe it's the president, maybe it's directors, or someone up really high, someone important. VIP person, nice, fighting wars. Yes, important person. All right, so you're in charge of organizing this. You were in charge. You didn't rehearse. You've just decided to wing it, but now you're standing there in front of the podium and you see there are bigwigs in the front row. So panic has started to set in. So number 8, for anyone watching right now, definitely give me your answer. Anybody watching this on the replay? Anybody watching this on the replay? Please do number 8 for homework. Please do number 8 for homework. But anybody watching this right now, well, let's just keep going and give me your answer. All right, I'm going to give you a funny answer. I'm going to give you my sort of funny answer. I would have just done it. That would be my honest answer. I'll give you that answer right now too. I would have just done it. I would have just done it. Now, maybe the funny answer, I would have faked a medical emergency. I would have faked a medical emergency. Yeah, I would have postponed my presentation. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Yeah. Hopefully they would have accepted it. Okay. The other thing I wanted to say, I would have just done it. The other option I could say for that, instead of using just done it, same meaning, I would have just gone through with it. Okay. These two sentences have the same meaning. I would have just done it, or I would have just gone through with it. That means same meaning. Just, it means do it. All right. So remember, whenever you're making these sentences, you know, basically the grammar is going to be right here. Would have plus the past participle. And I've got 3 examples in the banner: done, studied, chosen. Past participle is always that third position. I've done so many short videos testing that. So if you ever want a quick little test about past participles, check out my shorts. There's so many there. and I lost my light again. So, but it's okay because that was the last one for today's lesson. A quick little grammar lesson today. Fighter Boys, you do have another answer. Let's go over that. Instead of delivering my presentation, I would have invited them to an elegant restaurant. Yeah, sure. You bribe your way out of it. That's what I would have done probably. To get away from this panic attack. Yeah. Get away from this panic attack. Perfect, Fighting Boys. Have you ever sort of just wung something? You're supposed to prepare for something, or you know what? I'm just gonna wing it. Have you ever done that? I have. I've done that. I've done that before in my school presentations. Never for work, but I have done it at school and other things as well. Sometimes you just want to wing it. Don't forget, get away from. This is still fine. This panic attack, or get away from my panic attack. On the fly, yeah, just on the fly. You just decide at that moment. Okay. Great job, Fighting Bros. Great job. Great job. What time is it, by the way, where you are? But great job. Everybody else is watching. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you have any questions, if you're unsure about this grammar, or if you have an answer that was different from mine or different from Fighting Bros, leave it in the comment section. Any questions, you're more than welcome. Sometimes it takes me some time, but I always try to answer everybody's questions. 8:46 a.m. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you have a great day today. So you're just starting your day, and I'm just ending it. Thank you, Firebirds. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great day. Today was a good day in Tokyo. It was finally a day without rain. So yeah. Anybody remember? It does take me sometimes, depending on my schedule. It does take me sometimes to respond, but I always respond. I guarantee you, I will always respond. So any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed today's lesson. Thank you as always. Anybody watching on the replay, don't forget, subscribe, comment, like, do all that. Thank you, Fighting Boards, as well. So please do what Fighting Boards is saying. Like the lesson. But yeah, I appreciate all of you. Hope you guys all have a great day, and I'll see you guys all in the next live lesson. All right. See ya. Thank you, Fighting Boards.